The old park held secrets. Beneath the canopy of ancient oaks, shadows danced. Whispers lingered on the wind. It was a place of forgotten moments, of love and loss, of life and death. Here, in the heart of the city, the veil between worlds thinned, and tonight, a tragedy would unfold. The air grew colder as the sun dipped below the horizon. A lone figure walked along the gravel path, her breath misting in the twilight. Emma, her name was, a dreamer drawn to the park's melancholy beauty. Little did she know she was walking into a story as old as time, a tale of love and horror, a tale whispered on the wind. Liam watched her from the shadows. He had been drawn to her light, her warmth. It both repelled and attracted him. Centuries of darkness had dulled his senses, yet she ignited something within him. A flicker of longing, perhaps, or something more primal. He stepped out from the trees, his silhouette framed by the dying light.
Oh!
Emma stopped, startled. He was strikingly handsome, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 stories.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you.
His words were apologetic, but his gaze held an intensity that sent shivers down Emma's spine.
It's all right. I come here often. It's peaceful.
He nodded, his eyes never leaving hers.
So do I. It's a place where one can be alone with their thoughts.
And with those words, a connection was made, an invisible thread drawn between two souls in the twilight's embrace. Their meetings became a regular occurrence. Every evening, as the sun began its descent, they would find each other in the park. They talked for hours, sharing their dreams, their fears, their deepest secrets. Liam was a mystery, his past shrouded in vagueness. But Emma found herself drawn to him, to his quiet intensity and the unspoken stories in his eyes. He would often bring her flowers, wildflowers gathered from the park's hidden corners. He seemed to know all its secrets, all its hidden pathways and forgotten groves. He would tell her tales of the city's past, of its forgotten people and buried histories. She was captivated by his every word, by the way he could weave magic with his voice. One night, under the silvery glow of the moon, he leaned in close. His breath was warm on her cheek, his scent intoxicating. She closed her eyes, surrendering to the moment. His lips brushed against hers, a feather-light touch that sent a jolt through her entire being. He pulled away slightly, his eyes searching hers.
I shouldn't, but I can't help myself.
Liam struggled. With each passing day, his thirst for Emma's life force grew stronger. He craved her warmth, her vitality, yet he was tormented by the knowledge of what he was, what he had to do to survive. He had lived for centuries, surviving on the blood of others. But Emma was different. She was his salvation, his damnation. He tried to stay away, to protect her from the darkness that resided within him. But he was drawn back to her, time and again like a moth to a flame. Her laughter was his only solace, her touch a bittersweet torment. He knew that he couldn't keep his secret forever. He knew that eventually, the monster within him would win. One night, as they walked hand in hand through the darkened park, he felt his control slipping. The scent of her blood so close, so tempting. He stopped abruptly, his grip tightening on her hand.
Emma, you need to leave, now!
She looked up at him, her brow furrowed in concern.
What's wrong?
Please, just go. I don't want to hurt you.
His words, spoken with such urgency, sparked a flicker of fear in her heart.
She had always sensed a darkness within him, a hidden well of sorrow in his eyes. But she had pushed it aside, choosing to believe in the love she felt from him.
Now, as she looked at his tormented expression, she realized the depth of his secret.
Liam, what are you hiding? She whispered, her voice trembling.
He turned away, unable to meet her gaze.
I'm not who you think I am, he said, his voice raspy. He felt a burning sensation in his throat, a primal hunger clawing at his insides. You need to run, Emma. Run and never look back.
His words were like a slap in the face. She stepped back, her heart pounding in her chest. The park, once a sanctuary, now felt like a trap. The shadows seemed to twist and contort, taking on monstrous shapes.
What are you? She asked, her voice barely a whisper.
He closed his eyes, a single tear escaping and tracing a path down his cheek.
A monster, he breathed.
The transformation was swift, brutal. Liam's features contorted, his skin taking on a deathly pallor. His eyes, once warm and inviting, now glowed with an eerie red light. Sharp fangs elongated from his gums, and a low growl rumbled in his chest. He was no longer the man Emma had fallen in love with, but a creature of the night, a predator. The monster lunged. Emma screamed, a primal cry that echoed through the deserted park. She tried to run, but his speed was inhuman. He tackled her to the ground, his weight crushing the air from her lungs. She struggled against him, but it was futile. He was too strong, too driven by his insatiable hunger.
He leaned down, his hot breath reeking of bloodlust, and whispered in her ear, "Forgive me." Then, sinking his fangs into her delicate neck, he drank deeply of her life essence.
Her screams were cut short, replaced by a gurgling sob. She felt a searing pain, then a strange numbness spreading through her veins. Her vision blurred, the world around her fading to black. Liam held her close as her life ebbed away. He felt her warmth leaving her body, felt the vibrant pulse of her heart slowly fade to a standstill. Remorse washed over him, a tidal wave of guilt and despair. He had fought against his nature, had tried to protect her from the darkness that consumed him, but in the end, he had failed. He had condemned her to the same fate as him, had dragged her into his world of shadows and eternal night. She would never experience the joy of a sunrise, the warmth of a human touch. She would forever be trapped in the twilight, a creature of the night alongside him.
As the last vestiges of life left her eyes, I felt a strange sense of peace settle over me. It wasn't the peace of victory, but the peace of acceptance. I'd made my choice, and now I would live with the consequences for all eternity. I would carry her memory with me, a bittersweet reminder of the love I had both cherished and destroyed.
He carried her body through the deserted streets, his movements swift and silent. The city slept, oblivious to the tragedy that had unfolded in the shadows of the old park. He reached a secluded cemetery, its ancient headstones standing like silent sentinels against the encroaching darkness. Laying her gently on the cold ground, he began to dig. His movements were precise, almost ritualistic, as if he had performed this grim task many times before.
When the grave was sufficiently deep, I lowered her into it, my heart heavy with sorrow. I whispered a silent promise, a vow to protect her even in death.
As the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, he covered the grave, erasing any trace of her presence. He placed a single white rose on the freshly turned earth, a symbol of his eternal love and regret. Then, melting into the shadows, he disappeared into the night, leaving behind the scent of death and the faint echo of a broken heart. The old park stood silent, its secrets kept safe beneath the canopy of ancient oaks. The sun rose, casting long shadows across the dew-kissed grass. Birdsong filled the air, a symphony of life oblivious to the tragedy that had unfolded just hours before. The gravel path, once a witness to Liam and Emma's blossoming love, now lay deserted. The bench where they shared their dreams and whispered secrets was empty, a testament to the fleeting nature of happiness. The wind rustled through the leaves, carrying with it the faint scent of her perfume, a bittersweet reminder of what was lost. The old park held its breath, its secrets buried deep within its heart. It had witnessed countless stories unfold beneath its boughs, tales of love and loss, of joy and sorrow. But the story of Liam and Emma, a tale of forbidden love and tragic sacrifice, would forever be etched into its very soul. Love and loss, two sides of the same coin. They walked hand in hand through life, inseparable, inevitable. We sought love, craved its warmth, its embrace. Yet we feared loss, its cold touch, its finality. But what was love without the risk of loss? What was life without the bittersweet sting of goodbyes? In the end, all that remained were memories, faded photographs, whispered stories, the lingering scent of a loved one's perfume. These were the ghosts that haunted us, the echoes of a past that could never be recaptured. We carried them with us, these fragments of love and loss, shaping who we were, reminding us to cherish every moment, every stolen glance, every whispered word. For in the grand tapestry of life, it was often the threads of sorrow that held the greatest beauty, the deepest meaning. And so the old park stood silent, a testament to the enduring power of love and the haunting beauty of loss. A place where shadows danced and whispers lingered on the wind, carrying with them the echoes of a love story that would never die.